watching? Tell me who's watching? Who's watching me?
Hey guys, Freak here. I want to talk a little bit today about people and, in general, the way people think. Now, granted, it's 2012, it's been an election week, election year, and with the outcome of the election that we just had, there are a lot of rather upset people. I myself am one of them, and there are a lot of other people who are happy that their candidate won. Now, I want to go back to 2008 when Obama was first elected. When he first got into office, people bought into this change concept that he had. And they also bought into the fact that George Bush, that'd be George W. Bush, that's George Bush Jr., was responsible for our entire country's problems, our national debt being what it was, and, the deficit and all these other problems that we faced while Bush was in office. Well, I said before, and I'll say it again, you cannot blame one man for an entire country's problems. You can't blame one guy, and to be honest, the truth stands evident today. However, I have to kind of amend that a little bit. As far as blaming one man for an entire country's problems, well, this is one where you kind of can, but yet at the same time you can't. It's a real touchy subject, and I just had a rather heated comment on Facebook from a friend of mine. The comment was that, as I said, you can't blame one man for the country's problems, and we'll talk about unemployment, because that's one of the big issues. Unemployment being what it is, a lot of people don't realize that because of the government spending is one of the big keys that drives our economy. Well, the more the government spends on, to put it bluntly, shit they don't need, such as presidential vacations and, investing money into these companies that are basically failing and disappearing off the map. Well, by doing that, you're taking money away from the American people, because that money is being lost on an investment or wasted on a vacation or something that isn't necessary. And what people don't realize is when that happens, it drives our economy down, our money is worth less, our prices go up, and thereby companies are trying to save money wherever they can. Well, when companies try to save money, the first places they look are employee benefits, such as pensions, 401k, retirement, even health insurance, and other types of perks, such as paid time off, PTO, vacation. Benefits are one of the first things to go, and then the other thing they look at is cutting positions, cutting employees, layoffs, that kind of thing. Well, when that happens, okay, what is that employee supposed to do? Well, they apply for unemployment insurance. And how is that funded? Well, it's funded mostly by the government. Granted, there's other things such as, when they have withholdings from your taxes, some of that goes into the system and helps come back for unemployment insurance. So it is mostly funded by government, partially funded by taxes and whatnot. So, yeah, it's mostly government money. But as I was saying, when companies have to make cutbacks, then, they make layoffs. Well, who do you blame? Well, a lot of times when someone gets fired from a company, now granted, there's a difference, and most of you know this, there's a difference between being fired and being laid off. Fired basically says, you're out, you screwed up, we're not going to pay you anything anymore, goodbye. A layoff is different, because with a layoff, most of the time the company is expecting that the position they're temporarily eliminating will come back at a later date. So a layoff basically has, we're giving you, you're being laid off. It's basically unpaid vacation with the option of returning to work eventually. But What both of those things have in common is that when it happens, those employees will go and apply for unemployment. Now, what causes layoffs and companies to cut back? Well, as I said, the economy going down or the economy getting worse, and it all goes back to government spending. Now, if the government would spend money on things worthwhile, say creating jobs or investing in companies that aren't failing, such as companies that have, say, a 25-year track record, none of these green companies that just come around, hey, I'm a green energy company, let's invest. Oh, well, our theories aren't proven, our methods are complete shit, and we're going to tank in a week. Well, the government just invested $300 million of taxpayer money. What happens? The company tanks. Their return of investment is zero. So, in reality, you can almost blame one man for a country's challenges. You can't entirely blame him because it's not like he was personally telling these companies, you have to lay off, you have to make cutbacks. However, he was the one spending the money on this stuff that wasn't necessary, these failing companies, and these damn vacations that he's been going on. Well, where's that money coming from? Yours and my pockets. Well, when that happens, this guy, he's thinking, all right, free money, I don't have to worry about the consequences. I'm the president. Fuck everybody else. So my question is, why can't he use his own damn money? Well, wait, it's not his money. I think it was a fact. Yeah, it was a fact. I saw a fact sheet a while back here, probably about a week ago, that it had Obama's net worth. When he first took office, his net worth was just over, I want to say it was $1 million. I mean, net worth $1 million, which all in all, is not bad, but that's on the lower end of the upper class spectrum. And now, 4 years later, his net worth has increased to over $11 million. Now, I don't know if that's 100% true. I mean, it was on the internet, so you can't really believe everything you see on the internet. Some of the stuff can be pretty shady, but there are quite a few reputable sites that you can believe. And but I mean, in 4 years to jump up over $10 million, well, unless he made some damn good investments, which we all know is not the case, then that money's got to be coming from somewhere else. Well, I personally think he's been taking kickbacks and probably stealing from most of us. But going back to my point, is you can and yet you can't blame one man for an entire country's problems. Now, in the case of 2008, when everybody was blaming Bush, that is one thing that I say you can't blame one man for an entire country's problems. Me personally, I think Bush did a pretty good job. Yeah, he might have made a few mistakes, but we're only human. We're gonna make mistakes. At least when he made a mistake, he came out and said it. He was honest enough to say, I'm sorry, I screwed up. Obama, on the other hand, when he screws up, he'll come out and he'll lie about it and try to cover it up. Oh, no, I never said that. It was all part of the plan to begin with. Well, I'm sorry, but allow me to be the first to call you out and say, bullshit. Anyway, but yeah, as I said, you can and yet you can't blame one man for an entire country's challenges. You can because he's technically the leader, and I was taught that the leader of a group is responsible for the group, and when the group screws up, the responsibility comes back to the leader. I'm going to use I guess you could say a piece of my past as an example here. When I used to work in fast food, and I mean, a lot of high school kids at one point or another did work at a job in fast food. Well, I was at this job for over 3 years, and yeah, it was the same job. I was there quite a while, and from time to time, they would, the managers who were working there would put me in charge of the floor, and that basically meant that I was playing manager for the day. The only thing I wasn't responsible for was handling money to go from the cash drawers to the safe. Well, that's because I didn't have the codes. I'm sure I would have been able to handle it. It wouldn't have been an issue. But getting back on point, when you have that position, they called it the quarterback. When you have that position, you are responsible for filling orders, satisfying the customers, and making sure everything runs smoothly. And just basically, you're just shy of the manager without the money handling responsibilities. When you do that, the responsibility really falls back on you because technically you are the leader for that time period. Well, if you have a order taker that screws up an order, the responsibility falls to you to fix it. Because the order taker, okay, call them a newbie. They're not going to know, okay, they made a mistake, honest mistake, but you as the runner, the quarterback, or whatever the position the restaurant would call, then the responsibility for fixing it and satisfying the customer falls to you. Well, so you're the leader of that group, you're responsible for the group, and if the group makes a mistake, you are the one who has to fix it. Well, in my mind, the government is no different. The president is the leader, and his subordinates are cabinet members, congressmen, the whole House Senate deal. Well, yeah, granted, the House and Senate and all these other branches, they're the ones responsible for coming up with the laws, but yet the president has what they call veto power. If he doesn't like a law, he can say, no, we don't, I don't like this. We need to go back and take a look at it. Well, there's a whole lot of extra crap in there that I don't fully understand or fully know about. But what I do know about is leadership. And when you're in a leadership role, as I said, the people who are subordinate to you, or let's call it under you, when they screw up, you as the leader have to step up and take responsibility for what has happened. If the group screws up, you as the leader, this should be your line. I'm sorry, let's fix it. You can't always fix it by yourself, but you have to stand up, take the responsibility of a leadership role and say, let's take care of this, let's fix it, and let's do it right. Well, as far as I can see, in the last 4 years, there has not been one time where Obama has stood up and said, yes, that's my fault, let's fix it. He's always coming up with another lie to cover it up or to say that, it was part of the plan all along, and I don't understand what they're going for by people are always saying, I lost my train of thought there for a second. People are always blaming one man. Well, as I said, you can and you can't blame one man. It really depends on the situation and the circumstances. In the case of George Bush, no, I don't think you should blame him for, the entire country's problems. Yeah, he might have made some mistakes, but that's human nature. We make mistakes. And, yeah, Obama's made a lot of mistakes. Human nature, you have to have some forgiveness for it. But to stand up and outright lie that, that was part of the plan the whole time. Okay, what was part of the plan? Your lie or screwing up? Well, there's a difference between screwing up on purpose, screwing up, by accident, and then, trying to fix it. And there's also a difference in screwing up and then lying about it. To me, that's irresponsible and just plain wrong. But getting back to my comment about this Facebook, yes, my situation was my fault. And it's taken me a while to come to terms with that. But yes, it was my fault. But the people out there who are being laid off due to cutbacks and government spending, no, it's not their fault. So in that case, in kind of a roundabout, over the bridge sort of way, you can blame Obama for the problems of this nation. And I firmly believe that I don't think he has any intention to try to fix it the way it's supposed to be fixed. I think he wants to recreate this nation in his image and make it what he wants it to be. And quite honestly, that's not what we want, what we the people want. We want a free nation where we don't have to, we don't have to worry about whether or not we're going to go to war with another country, or whether or not the Arabs are going to jack up the oil prices on us, or where another thing, where our oil is going to come from. That's not something that we really have to worry, or we really should be worrying about. But what we should be worrying about is whether or not our country is going to stay intact. Anyway, actually, I think that is enough for tonight. I am the Freak, and this has been another Ramblin Rant. We will see you guys next time.
Who's watching? Tell me who's watching? Who's watching me?